Welcome to the first episode of Apologia. Apologia is just going to be a simple, uncomplicated video blog where we tackle the questions that either you're afraid to ask or maybe you're afraid to have answered. First of all, being the first episode of Apologia, just want to give a minute to explain who I am and what's the meaning of this word apologia and why have I chosen it for this blog. Well, my name is Solomon Powell. I'm the family pastor here at Temple Baptist Church. My background is in exegesis, which is a simple term meaning trying to draw the meaning out of ancient texts. Okay, so it's just understanding the meaning of ancient texts. That's what exegesis is. My specialty was New Testament Greek. My subspecialty was componential analysis, which is breaking individual words down into their individual components of meaning. So kind of a Greek nerd, that's my background. That's what I bring to the table. That's the perspective I speak from. But I also speak from the perspective of a pastor who's concerned for people. What pastors do is they help people get as healthy as they can be. Part of that is you got to think healthy. And so that's a little about me. Kyrionde ton Christon ahiasate entes cardia Simon etumi aepros apologian pantito etunti imas logon peri des enumin elpidos. Okay? In English, the meaning is, in your hearts, set apart or mark out Jesus, the chosen one, as your master. Be prepared to give an apologia to everyone who asks you to give the reason for this hope that you've got. Okay? Be prepared, he says, he's writing to his friends, to give an apologia to everybody who asks you, why do you have all this hope in your life? Why? So apologia is a Greek word that just simply meant, and I have the entry here for you so you can see the definition, the act of making a defense. Okay? The act of making a defense. So what he's saying is always be prepared. He was writing to Christians, okay? Saying always be prepared to give a defense to everybody who asks you for the reason that you've got all this hope. That's what apologia is. It's a defense of the Christian faith, tackling the questions that maybe as an outsider you're honestly scared to answer, or as an insider who's maybe taken some of these truths for granted, you're scared to ask. So that's apologia. It means a defense. One other note that I'll throw in as I'm waiting for the printer to print is that always feel free to challenge anything I say. The stuff I say won't be new information. Everything I say is stuff it just be common knowledge, stuff you can look up and research even online or in books and verify. So don't take anything I say for granted. Look it up, test what I say, and always feel free to add input to the discussion that you think would be helpful, including things that are challenges to what I'm saying, or a question, or wanting to know, okay, what exactly did you mean by that? Feel free to ask clarifying questions. You can put things in the comments, or you can private message me. I totally welcome the dialogue. Okay? All right, here we go. Okay, the first statement that we're going to tackle is this. The Bible is the same as any other holy book that's out there. Huge question to tackle. Is the Bible the same as any other holy book that's out there? A lot of people just say it is. To answer that question, first of all, we got to take a look at what the Bible is. I would say 95% of people out there, including people in churches, don't really have any idea what exactly the Bible is and where it came from. Huge question you should have answered. You should investigate even before you put your faith in any religion. You should know where its holy book came from. So, an intro to where the Bible came from, and I think that'll answer our question all by itself. All right, here we go. This is it. This is our master timeline. I'll give you a second to orient yourself. Way on that left side, you've got 3500 BC, then you've got 2000 BC, and then 1500 BC, and then 1000 BC, and then straight ahead of me, it's 500, and then 1 BC AD. Okay, that's the 0 mark, 0 AD, right there in the center. And then we've got 500 AD, 1000 AD, 1500 AD, and 2000 AD. And that's right about where all of us were born. So just to orient yourself here, this is a timeline covering from about 3000 BC up to about 2000 AD. So the last 5,000 years of human history. All right, that's it. We have no samples of human writing before about 5,000 years ago. So about that 3,000 mark there on the left side, we don't have any writing, any pieces of writing ever before then. So if humans took billions of years to evolve, apparently they did not figure out writing until about 5,000 years ago, till about 3,000 BC. And then all of a sudden, I guess a lot of them figured it out all at once. Of course, I don't believe humans evolved that long. But at any rate, those are the facts. We don't have any writing before 3000 BC. All right. But this, guys, is all that we have when it comes to holy books. Every single holy book in the world is represented on this timeline in its original language at the exact time it came into our race. All right. So it's color coordinated. So in yellow, the first set of texts that we got are the Vedas, which are the Hindu holy books. Okay? In green, we have the books, the books that are combined into the book that we call the Bible. In pink, we have the Buddhist holy book. In blue, we have the Quran, about 600 AD. And in orange over here, around 1800s, we have the Book of Mormon. Okay, so to recap, the yellow is the Hindu holy books. The pink is the Buddhist holy book. The green are the Christian and Judeo-Christian holy books, which we call the Bible. And the blue is the Muslim holy book. And the orange is the Book of Mormon, the Mormon holy book. So the first thing that we see about the Bible is it's actually a collection of 66 individual messages that were given to our race over a period of about 1,500 years. You can see the first green ones way over there on the left side at about 1,500 BC. Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, all written down by a man named Moses. And then some of the final messages that God included in the Bible are here in the 1st century AD, including with the epistles of John and Revelation, old man John writing his final epistles. So what we see about the Bible is it's actually 66 messages total, not just one. There wasn't any book that fell out of the sky and hit some Jewish man in the head and he was like, ow. You know, it didn't happen like that. How it happened was a spirit being would come to a man and say, I have a message for you to give to the human race. You have to write this down. And he would write it down. And then maybe 100 years would go by, and there would be another message given to the human race to another man, and it would be written down. And then there would be another one maybe a couple hundred years later. You know, so we got Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy, Joshua, around 1375 BC. Okay. Judges, 1050 BC, or Shoftim in Hebrew. Psalms, okay. Those are scattered. So the Psalms, that's a collection itself of 150 different books. Ruth, what's Ruth? About 1000 BC. Ecclesiastes, Hosea, Jonah, Amos. These are different men that a single message. So Hosea had one message from the Creator, and with a particular Creator named Yahweh. Okay, he wasn't giving a message from any other gods other than the one God whom the Jewish people served, whose name is Yahweh. Amos here. Micah. Isaiah wrote about 740 BC. It said, you know, you read the first few, all you have to do is read the first few words of the book of Isaiah or of any of these, and it'll all start off, a message from the Lord, which in Hebrew is from Yahweh, came to Isaiah, the son of Amos, saying this, and then he records what his message was to the human race. Okay, 50 more years pass, and you get more messages, you know, Daniel, Nahum, I'm skipping over, Zephaniah, Jeremiah, Habakkuk, all of these men added individual messages from the same Spirit being from. So we're just moving along here. Malachi, Ezra, and then about a 400-year gap
where Yahweh apparently did not give our race any messages that he wanted preserved for the entire human race. But then a whole bunch more started in the first century again. James, Mark, Romans, Galatians, Matthew, 1 Thessalonians, Luke, Corinthians, okay, Acts, 2 Peter, Hebrews, and so on and so forth, and finally Revelation here. All right, so again, if you want to tackle the question that the Bible is the same as any other holy book, you have to understand that the Bible itself is a collection of 66 different messages given to the human race over a period of about 1,500 years. And what happened was the Jews got sick of carrying around all these scrolls, okay, and decided, you know what, let's put them in book form. I think the Romans had some book form things that they were using, and people probably just determined, you know, that's a lot more easy way to carry around a lot of scrolls. So all these scrolls started to be put into single book form with a single binding, and that's, you know, the form of what we have today as the Bible. I think that book form is called the codex form. So you have scrolls or codexes, and I think codexes started around 200 AD. So, you know, when you go to a hotel room and you look in the drawer and you see that Bible, you know, be grateful someone decided to put it in book form, because otherwise there'd be 66, you know, scrolls jammed into that hotel room drawer. If you wanted to have a Bible yourself or bring your Bible to church, you'd be lugging around 66 different scrolls. But all right. So why should this blow you away? I'll tell you why. So 1,500 years. Okay, that's the time span that all these messages, 66 messages, spread out over 1,500 years, and they're from one spirit being, or so they claim. Okay, that's how they got included in the book. If they weren't from Yahweh, the Jews wouldn't have listened. That's the God that they followed. That's the God of the Bible. Okay, there were plenty of other gods served by the Greeks, by the Egyptians, Ra, Molech. Tons of them. They're all over the place, and you know Greek mythology in the first century and the centuries BC. You know, Zeus, Apollos. There's tons of gods that people serve, but the Jews served one God, Yahweh, and His name is all over those green messages. That's what sets them apart from the other messages. All right, but the thing that should blow you away is, although this is 66 books over a period of 1,500 years, it's one macro narrative. It's one giant story carried on from beginning to end. The first 39 messages, this group right here, the green ones, those first 39 messages are all the diary account of one particular God's interaction with our race from creation up till 400 BC. And that God, His name, as He revealed it, is Yahweh. He claims to be the creator of the heavens and the earth, the one who is far above all other spirit beings. He's the one that the Jews followed, and He is the one that, according to these men, revealed these 39 messages. Okay, so these 39 messages are His diary account of how He was interacting with our race from creation up till about 400 BC. The second, there's two more things that these 39 messages contain. So first, His diary account. Number two, they give a history of the nation of Israel. Okay, the people who were descended from Jacob, the son of Isaac, the son of Abraham. Jacob's people are the people known in the world today as the Jews. And these 39 messages give their national history. And the third thing that these 39 messages contain is promises and clues about a special chosen one that was going to come into the world. Okay? Now, the next 27 messages, these ones, all from the first century, we call them the New Testament. These 27 messages contain three things as well. One, they contain eyewitness accounts of the life of Jesus of Nazareth, a first century Jew. Two, they contain a history of the subsequent lives of His disciples and the beginning of Jesus' church after He died and rose again, according to them. Okay? And then number three, they contain information about the future return of the King and directions how we're supposed to live as we wait for that day. Okay? So this entire thing is incredible. And if you've read any of some of the other holy books, you're going to see what sets this. So then now zooming out and taking a look at this, what we're left with is one giant macro story threaded together throughout these 66 messages in these 1,500 years. And the giant master story is really incredible. From front to beginning, we have the story of this spirit being who has intimate interest in our world and the stuff going on in it and its people, even at the individual level. Okay, and then we have the story of how evil enters the world. Darkness, the yin and the yang, is, if you're familiar with that concept, how darkness is a part of everything. This story tells how darkness enters the world and how everything got all jacked up. And then it gives God's plan and prophecies of someone who's going to come and make things right, particularly these ones here on the left in the Old Testament. And then the New Testament, you get the chosen one's arrival, the story of his life on earth and what he was like. And then you also get the predictions of the future renewal when the light wins out totally and all darkness is destroyed. So it's this incredible, like, giant interwoven story. Real oracles, a real hero, a real rescue, a real hope for the future. This was the Matrix before there was a Matrix. And this is historical text that exists in our race. I mean, this isn't some fiction story. This isn't Wonder Woman. This isn't Superman. You know, this is history. So it's an incredible book. And then you got to think that this story, which has just incredible themes that tie together. For instance, some of the older books, like Isaiah, gives a prophecy of what the chosen one will be like, and those prophecies are fulfilled 700 years later in the life of a guy that shows up in the first century. You got to think about what some of this stuff means. But even just this macro story about sin entering the world and someone that's going to make things right. They were all on board with this and giving more details about what that person will be like. Then he arrives, what he's like, the kingdom that he's all about, and that he's going to set up one day, and what's coming in the future. You got to think that this macro story was penned by 40 different men living in different generations. I mean, are you kidding me? That's crazy. And there's nothing, absolutely nothing, anything like this in any of the other holy books that we have. I mean, let's start here. We got the Vedas over there. Now, that was written by multiple authors over some different centuries. You can see the Vedas span from about 400 BC, if you count the Bhagavad Gita, to the Vedas, which are pretty much like 1700 to 1000. And you got those five books, the four Vedas. But I mean, if you read through the Vedas and you check out what's there, it's basically rituals. It's basically religious rituals, how to do sacrifices, different ceremonies for different things. It's not like a history, and this grand epic master story. I mean, there's some spiritual philosophizing and ideas and concepts that are there, but it's nothing like a story, and it's a lot of different spirit beings too, not just one. So that's the Hindu books. Then you've got the Buddhist holy books. I mean, that's basically one person at one point in time and one set of teachings. Okay, then you got, again, the Muslim holy book, the Quran, one man, one message, one point in time. Okay, so in other words, if that angel that spoke to Muhammad wasn't a truthful angel, I mean, that whole thing falls apart. It's all dependent on that one angel, and that was, how do we know he was telling the truth even? And then you got the Book of Mormon, again, one message given to one man in the 1800s from one angel. He said that angel Moroni told me, gave me this message. But then you've got the Bible, which is 66 messages spread out over 1,500 years by the same spirit being, all telling one piece of an unfolding story. They each add their own piece of the story, but then you zoom out, and it's like this one incredible story. I mean, there's nothing even close to anything like the Bible. Now, that doesn't make it true, but, it should at least turn your head and make you kind of be thinking, wow, okay, that's really interesting. This, my friends, is all that we have. This is all that's been given to our race. These papers hanging on
when you think about
the timeline,
all these these different spirit beings, they're trying to communicate with us. Which one? I mean, clearly one of them has been working way harder than the other ones. I mean, he's given 66 individual messages over 66 periods of time where he's tried to spoke and successfully got a message through to our race. I mean, one of them, if you go by that, which one cares the most about our race? Which one's the most resiliently trying to communicate to us? I mean, Yahweh really sets himself apart in that regard, just from the history of
of this. One thing that I want to add is the thing that this should shoot down for you is, again, it doesn't make this true. It doesn't mean that these messages, these 66 messages are true. These guys could have been lying. They could have been making it up. We'll deal with some of those questions in later apologias. But one thing that understanding this composition of the Bible and this progressive, how it was revealed progressively, does shoot down is the possibility that it could have been a giant conspiracy theory. Okay, because it is really hard to have a conspiracy theory with someone that doesn't live in the same generation as you. You know, what are you going to write down? Well, I'm going to write down this. Okay, cool. I'll add this part and we'll tie it all together. And I mean, you know, when you live in 700 BC like Isaiah versus 1500 BC like Moses, it's pretty hard to pull together a conspiracy theory. All right, so it does shoot down that idea. All right, so the first statement that we tackled on the first Apologia is the Bible the same as any other holy book? And I would submit to you respectfully that not even close. Not even close.
Okay, thanks for joining us. Feel free to, like I said, add comments, add anything that you think would helpfully add to this conversation. Questions, clarifying things, feel free to just comment. And feel free to join us for the next Apologia. We'll take a look at the question, the assertion. Well, you know what? The Bible's changed so much over the years. People have changed so much. We really don't know what it originally said. That'll be Apologia number 2. Thanks for watching, guys.